Before we begin, we want to acknowledge that some stories and discussions in this episode of Radiant Resilience may touch on sensitive and potentially triggering topics. These may include themes of breast cancer diagnosis and treatment, medical trauma and surgery, immigration struggles and discrimination, mention of suicidal ideation, discussion of abusive relationships, loss of a parent, and financial hardship. Our goal is to share real life experiences in a respectful and empathetic manner, offering insights into the complexities of the human spirit and the journey towards resilience. However, we understand that some content might be difficult for listeners. We encourage you to prioritize your well being and discretion when deciding to listen. Please remember this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice or support. If you find yourself needing assistance, we urge you to seek help from qualified professionals or trusted support systems. Your mental and emotional health is important to us. Thank you for your courage and for joining us in a space of understanding and compassion. Welcome back, everyone, to Radiant Resilience. I have with me today, I have Zulma Williams. She was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and immigrated to the US at age 31. At age 42, she started her Bachelor of Social Work program. She then graduated at 46 in December of 2011, and 2 months later was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had a lumpectomy, moved back to Argentina for a few years, and then in 2015 came back to the US. She enrolled for the Master of Social Work program at age 50, did an internship, and became fully licensed in 2018. She is the founder of Dragonfly Therapy Services, and she specializes in trauma, anxiety, and depression. She survived cancer, abusive relationships, depression, and suicidal ideation, but never considered herself a victim. No matter what people are going through in life, she hopes her message will help the audience discover and honor their own internal hero. Welcome, Zulma. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I'm so excited to have this conversation. We were chatting a little bit before we hit record. So I think we have a really good direction for this conversation. And I think you have a lot to share with my listeners that they can resonate with. It sounds like everything started from when you moved to the US. I'm sure you had a lot of life before that. But yeah, why don't you start with telling us what that was like? I think it's interesting. I don't think we get a lot of personal stories of immigrants that moved to the US and what that's and how traumatizing that can be in itself. So, why don't you go ahead and start there for us?
Absolutely. Yes, I was 31 and I was still living with my mom because I didn't have a job for 2 years and I didn't have a boyfriend at the time. I didn't have children. I was like, it's now or never, right? Because if I don't do it now and then I have a couple of children, I'm not going to drag my children to the adventure, right? So,
Yeah.
and the thing is that I took it as an adventure actually because I had nothing. So when you have nothing to lose, so I was like, fuck it, I'll go and see what happens. And then my mom, bless her heart, she told me like, if it doesn't work out, you always have your home
Mhm.
here, blah blah blah. So I was, okay. I moved here in December, and it was everything was decorated for Christmas. So I was like in a fucking movie
Yeah.
for the first couple of weeks. Then reality hit on. But at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, every airport I went through, it they had the Christmas tree and the lights. And I moved in with my uncle in California at the time, and all the houses were there. I was like, God, like you cannot do this in Argentina. They're gonna steal your fucking Christmas light electric bill either. So I was like, oh my God, like taking pictures, right? Or like la la la. And then I started working in I had such a cultural shock because of my accent, right? So I didn't speak English at the time. I knew how to read and write based
Mhm.
on my education in high school over there, but I didn't know how to speak. So
Mm.
it was like we all have a tendency to speak really fast in our first language. So I was like, people were talking to me. I'm like, more slowly, please. That was one of the first things that more slowly, please. I was working in a laundromat where you drop your clothes and then you pick them up. I'm
Mhm.
like, motherfucker, slow down or your shirts are going to be like however I want them.
I feel that way about Spanish too, because I have spent a lot of time in Spanish speaking countries and I took a month's worth of private lessons and my Spanish is still terrible.
Vamos a hacerlo en español, entonces.
Poquito.
So,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
always struggle with that.
I had a lot of people who were appreciative of me trying to learn the language
Yes.
because that's one of the first things that I did enroll in ESL in English as second language classes, but it was a joke because there was like, let's say 25 people. We were all adults and it was 23 Mexicans, me from Argentina, and a poor Chinese girl that she couldn't communicate with anybody.
Mm.
I learned more Mexican than I learned English, really. So the thing is, like, what really helped me was when I moved into, so I was in a Hispanic neighborhood, and then I moved into a more white neighborhood. And that got me really back to speed because I was like, I fucking learn or I had to go back. Because when you are surrounded by people who speak your language, although they were from Mexico and I'm from Argentina, we can understand each other. When everybody speaks English, it's like, oh, you fucking learn really quick.
And I
So,
think that's the best way to learn a language, which
oh
is,
yeah, no,
just
absolutely,
fully immerse
absolutely,
yourself in it. It's hard as
yes.
hell, but it's the best way to do it.
Right. Funny story. So I was working at the laundromat and a guy, I was flirting with one of the customers and I said, I'm really easy. So he started laughing and he said, I know what you mean. You should say that you are easygoing, okay? Thank you. It's thinking that it was that he might have thought it was so cute because I'm like, oh, I'm very easy. I'm really easy. Like,
Isn't there one in Spanish like that too? Isn't it like, because caliente is hot, but if you say I'm caliente, isn't it more like hot and bothered? Like,
right,
yeah, where like you have to say us like calor, right? Is when
yeah,
you're
right. So you could be horny, right? Right. Like you
right.
can use it. You can use it for people. You can use it for food. You can use it for the weather. So you have to really pay attention where you are putting the caliente, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I was easy when I moved to America, right? Like so. As I continue to like change jobs and get more immersed into the culture, I suffered a lot of discrimination because of my accent, and it was hard. It was hard because I will. It's not some like I learn a new language to speak a new language at 31. Like my brain is already fully developed. It's not like a kid that is not going to have the accent. But a lot of people were very nice. But a lot of people were fucking assholes and be like, no, you don't say it like this. You say it like this. So one time, I'm a recover people pleaser. So one
Mhm.
time, so I was trying to, not anymore. But so one time I told the person, I said, do you know how to read a book in Spanish? And there was a silence. I said, I didn't think so. And I turned around and I left. And he never corrected me again. But motherfucker, are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
But the cultural shock was, it was like a lot of little things. Like, for example, Mother's Day. Mother's Day in Argentina is the third Sunday in October.
Okay.
So I came here in December. So here comes May with Mother's Day. And then October, I'm like, oh, fuck, where do I get a Mother's Day card in Spanish to send to my mom? Right? So
You got to
first
plan
year,
ahead for that.
so the following year for Mother's Day here, I bought the card in Spanish and I save it until September so I
Oh,
can get there on time.
yeah.
So soccer, big thing in Argentina. Yeah, not so much. So I will get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch the games when they were in Japan for my team. And
Yeah.
they don't understand. It's hard to understand the passion. Like people get fucking killed because like you are wearing the wrong jersey in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So when here the passion for football, right, for American football, I'm like, okay, my ex-husband, he used to watch all the fucking sports except soccer. So
Oh
first time
gosh.
we're watching a football game together and the 2 minute warning, right? And then I was like, oh, it's 2 minutes. And then fucking 20 minutes later and the fucking game's still to the 2 minutes.
Yep.
Soccer is boring where when it begins and where it ends,
Yep.
and you watch fucking baseball for hours on end. So I could not learn for the life of me. I couldn't learn baseball. I don't understand it. Several people try to teach me, and I'm like, I have no fucking clue. I think that is so boring, but I think it's boring because I don't understand it.
I think it's
I don't
boring
understand the
too.
rule.
So.
Oh, I don't
I'm an
understand the
American, but
rules.
I am not a baseball fan. I do love American football though. So,
So a friend of mine took me to a baseball game, and she was teaching me and blah blah blah, right? And then and they were showing the player on the screen. I was like, "Oh, go Jason!" She said, "No, that's the other team." I'm like, "Fuck you, Jason!" That tells you how much I didn't understand.
yeah.
I didn't even know which team I needed to be rooting for. So it's oh my god! But when I first, so as I say, it was an adventure. So I was loving, I was mesmerized, I was hurting because of certain people's behaviors, but none of that. I never thought of, oh my God, I'm going to move back to Argentina. It was never a possible. I knew that it was there, the
Yeah.
possibility, but I was like, I had hard times and I was like, I'm going to fucking figure it out. Like every time that something doesn't go my way, I'm going to go running back to Argentina. So I changed a lot of jobs. Then I moved to Vegas from a job in California. They were expanding in Vegas, and they proposed that a guy that was also single at the time and I moved here to bring their system to Nevada, and so we worked. I worked so hard. Like I always say, I didn't become a hardworking person when I moved here. I was already a hardworking
Mhm.
person, but over there, you need to work hard to survive.
Yeah.
At least here, I work hard and I was able to rent my apartment and to have my car. All those things that are so taken for granted here,
Mhm.
we don't have those. When growing up, the family had only one car and it was only for emergencies because we couldn't afford gas and insurance. So
Mm.
it was, and my dad was the only one who would drive it.
Yeah.
And here, like I had an employee in one of the jobs, she was a teenager, so she was working summers with us, and she was like so offended because her dad bought a car for her mom on Valentine's Day, but not for her. I'm like, bitch, I didn't even like you don't
Yeah.
but a lot of people, oh, children are so entitled. I don't think, yes, they are, but I think it's not their fault in the sense of, as an American parent, you're trying to provide for your children. So, like, but if you travel, you will know that this is not how other people live.
Yeah.
So, I am very appreciative of being able to pay the rent and to support myself and to have a car,
And I
right?
think
Like,
that's something that I think we need to really pay attention to because I feel like I've done a lot of traveling. And so all over the world, I feel like everybody is just trying to provide for their families, give their kids a better life than they had, all of that stuff. And it is a lot harder in other places than it is here. And I think that's a huge reason why a lot of people want to come here because there is so much
I,
opportunity and it is a great country for opportunities and things like that. And I don't think that contrary to some beliefs, like I don't think immigrants are all coming here just to like cause crimes and get in trouble and stuff. There are a lot of people that come here and they just want a better life. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it is hard, correct me if I'm wrong, to leave your home country, your family, everything, and come to a country where you don't know the language, you don't know the customs, you don't know when Mother's Day is, you don't know.
Exactly. The food is different, the language is different, the culture is different. But as soon as I was able to become an American citizen, I did it out of the values. I appreciate this country so much that I became a citizen as a way of thanking the country for everything that it has given me, which my country of origin didn't give me. So a lot of people come here and okay, they become a citizen to take advantage of the system, but we are not all like that, right?
Yeah.
Like it was a matter of principle for me to learn the language. I speak Spanish, but this is your country, this is your home. So I felt a moral obligation to learn the language.
Hi, friend, and welcome to this episode of Radiant Resilience. We are always looking for new guests on the podcast. I want to highlight you if you have a story of resilience that inspires others. Everyone has a story, and I believe that sharing yours can help others feel less alone. Are you ready to share your journey and inspire others? I want to hear from you. Every story has the power to impact lives and foster a supportive community. If you have a tale of overcoming adversity, personal growth, or a unique perspective on life's challenges, I would love to have you as a guest on the podcast. To become a guest, please email us directly at radientresiliencepodcast@gmail.com or click the link in the show notes to become a guest. Join us in spreading hope, strength, and inspiration one story at a time. Be brave and share your story so others feel less alone. I hope to see you soon. Life is a lot easier for you if you learn the language of that country.
But if you go to Argentina, there is no one for Spanish and two for English.
No,
Right?
I went to Argentina and my Spanish worked everywhere else but Argentina. Because your guys' accent is so different than everywhere else.
Special.
But I figured it out and I was able to get by on my Spanish that I had at the time.
But like here is we are spoiled, right? Oh, press one for English, press two for. Excuse me. Yeah, we. While I appreciate that, I also took action into how can I serve or offer my services to the country in a better way. Yeah. Because I think that a lot of immigrants are like me and a lot of immigrants are not. Yes. So generalizing is if I say, oh, all Americans are assholes because of that motherfucker who was an asshole to me. Not all immigrants, as you said, come here to, we are not, the jobs that I have performed in a laundromat, in a dry cleaners, in a lot of places, there were not many American people who were working there. Because here in Nevada, we have brutal summers. And working at the dry cleaners, it was like, let's say it was 110 degrees, the weather. And then inside, because of the steam and all that, it was like 120. So I was sweating my ass off. Like people will wait outside because it was more manageable. Yeah. Waiting for they turn outside, and I didn't fucking go anywhere. Like I will go home, change into my bathing suit, go to the pool, and then come back because I needed to cool down. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh my fucking god! Like yeah. Last year we had 117 degrees here, so I cannot even imagine being at the dry cleaner. So then as I move into that's another thing. As I move into an office job with a desk and AC, and I appreciated that because there is no AC in the dry cleaners because the machines cannot keep up with the heat because it's constantly. So I was like, oh shit, I have AC or I have a heater, right? Like, so those things that we take for granted, they're not. So I made it a habit of keeping a gratitude journal where I appreciate, because I don't want to forget. My nephew tells me that you're too Americanized, but I don't want to forget that, you know what? I have a job in Argentina, but I couldn't afford to live on my own.
Mm,
So with my job here, I can afford to rent an apartment. I don't want to take it for granted.
yes.
Rent an apartment, pay utilities, buy the food, leave,
Yeah.
really.
And as a
Same.
woman too, right? Because there's a lot of countries where women do not have that opportunity at
And
all.
as a woman too, right? Don't want to lose sight of that.
Mm.
So to me, having a gratitude journal where I'm grateful for my health and I'm grateful for my body because I have hands and I legs and I can move. We take all those for granted until we lose them. And
Yeah.
then we start fucking appreciate, and it's okay. I don't want to have to lose my health again in order to start appreciating it.
Yeah.
And I think that getting into the habit of being appreciative for the stuff that you have, you might not have a mansion, but do you have a roof over your
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing we have a hard time with in America too, which could be a whole other podcast episode of
head?
keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly. So it's okay. Like I'm not into brand names or my purse that I bought at Ross. It holds my fucking stuff the
Yeah.
same. It was like $20, the same way that the Louis Vuitton that is 3,500. More power to you, but that's not what I'm after. So I don't really give a shit. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people are guided by, oh, what purse I'm holding, instead of trying to get to know me and what do I bring to the table. Because a lot of times you you work hard for that money, but a lot of times it's like you were born in the right family.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for the values, but I'd rather have the fucking money. But
Mhm.
here I am with my
Yeah.
values. My dad was very hardworking, and I inherited that from him. My dad never had a sick day.
Mm.
I'll be fucking dying, and I'm going to work. Not anymore, and we can talk more about that. But at the time, because that's what he showed me.
Yeah.
So if I have certain luxuries per se. I'm not, I hope it doesn't come like I'm judging. I'm not. I'm just jealous that some people can cry in a fucking Ferrari and I'm crying in my own.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, we are all crying. But the thing is to really appreciate and understand that not everybody has the same opportunities.
Yes.
So to me, when I decided to go back to school, I still have like almost $100,000 in student debt.
Mm.
But that's what I needed to do in order to pursue my dream.
Yeah.
I didn't have grandpa to pay for my school. Like I started school so late in life that my classmates were my fucking children. Like,
Yeah.
and they were like, my grandpa is paying for this. Because I'd be like, oh, did you read the chapter? Oh, no, I didn't have time. Motherfucker, like, I work full time and I go to school full time. What you mean? But it made me appreciate the class a lot more because I was paying
Yeah. For sure.
instead of grandpa. So
Yeah.
I was like, can your grandpa like adopt me? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or I'll be the sugar babe. I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
looking for a sugar daddy. Whatever comes first. It's like a different appreciation because, and it's really hard. So you've been to Argentina. When I say a poor person here is different than a poor person in Argentina. A poor person is a poor person. No, it's different over there. A poor person here still may have a roof over their head and internet and a phone and services, right? Over
Mhm.
there, they don't. But unless you actually live that and you have that experience, it's not because I live it firsthand experience, but I know of people.
Yeah.
So unless you have direct knowledge of that, you're thinking that, oh, everybody has a phone. Be careful when you're in Buenos Aires because they might fucking kill you for your phone, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a PlayStation 5 is 2 months of salary
Hmm.
over there because the of the exchange rate in
Yeah.
so it's also you have a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. And you were
Yeah.
like, oh, thank you. Like, I'll be fucking kissing your feet if you're that
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
So to have a different perspective in to teach our children. I don't have any children, but I have all my friends have children, and it's wow. These children have no fucking idea
Mm.
of how good they have it.
Yeah.
But it's not the children's fault.
Yeah.
And as you said, parents want to give what they didn't have to their
Yes.
children, and it's oh, don't be so fucking like we need. I don't know how to do this, but we need to teach how to be more appreciative of the shit and not take it for granted.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to go back to that, I think, in the next few generations. But somebody was telling me recently, a side tangent, but there's a book that talks about that every 4 years we have, or every 4 generations is a fucked up generation. And we have to
Oh,
correct it in the next few generations, and then we do it again. So it's apparently there's some type of 4 generation cycle, which I would love to read this book because I think it would be super interesting. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to
yeah,
see. But
that makes a lot of sense, right? Because you do it and then it's so fucked up that you need to start all over again from scratch. Right.
yeah, for sure. And I think we're facing that probably in the near future. But I want to back up a little bit really quick before we move on to your breast cancer story. If you can give me a brief overview of the process to become a US citizen from Argentina, because I think a lot of people think it's an easy process, and I don't think it's an easy process to become a US citizen, period. So if you could give a
Right.
brief overview of that process and what that looks
Absolutely.
like.
So you come and if you have a green card upon coming, that which you can do it from your, and I think that is from actually anywhere that you come, but I came from Argentina. So if you come with a green card, you wait 5 years and then you qualify to be an American citizen. So in order to be an American citizen, you need to pass a test. They give you there's a lot of fucking paper. This is when I became a citizen. I don't know how it is now, but at the time, it's a lot of fucking paperwork. But they give you a test. It's 100 questions to study from, and they provide a booklet and a CD. So you have all the answers to 98 of the questions. The only two that are not answered are your representatives because it's by a state. So you
Mm.
need to learn that for your state. And then the test, again, at that time, the test was 10 questions, so you need 60%. So if you pass the first 6 questions, you answer the first 6 questions correctly, that's it. So, funny story when I went, so I was quizzing everybody, like, you work with me, and I go with my booklet, and I'm asking a question from the 100 questions.
Yeah.
You because you don't know the fucking question. So I knew a lot more of those, whatever was in the air than a lot of people here, but I understand why because I was fucking studying it. But
Yeah.
if you ask me about history from Argentina, I'll be like, oh shit, I might not know.
They
Okay,
say
so
that about that test. I've heard that before, that a lot of Americans don't know the answers to that questions.
exactly. But I think they make it so easy for you to learn because they're giving you the CD, they're giving you the answer. What more do you want?
Yeah.
So I go in. So the test is the questions is the reading test and this speaking test, right?
Okay.
So they ask you a question, and then you have to. So it's English comprehension. So they ask the question, you need to write it down, and then you need to answer it, and then you need. So the question was, who was the first president of the United States? So I had to write that down. That was a written test, and then I answered it, right? George Washington. So then one of the 10 questions was, who was the first president of the United States? So the guy was like, oh, this is unfair because that I already asked you. I said, you can ask me any of the 100 questions because I know them all.
Oh.
He's like, no, that's funny.
You're like, ready? Let's do it. I've studied for this.
The fucking CD for 3 months. I know I can answer the question before even the lady. Like I was like, I'm gonna pass this test. So of course I answered the 6 questions correctly, so I was good to go. Then it is so they process that, and then you go to the courthouse to pledge allegiance to the American flag, which was such an emotional moment. And but funny enough, they didn't play the American anthem,
They
the
didn't.
Star Spangled Banner. They play, this was after 9/11, so they played the song that was created for 9/11, and I'm proud to be an
Oh, sure.
American, right? And I was like, oh, sorry, like,
It's
so
appropriate.
like it blew my mind. But so that song has such a beautiful meaning to me because
Yeah.
it was like, oh, that's when in the Star Spangled Banner is so difficult for non-English speakers because it's like a lot of the words are weird, right? And then
Yeah.
like and the way that, but every time that I hear the Star Spangled Banner, I cry.
Oh, I
So
love
when I'm like fucking Super Bowl, I'm like, don't fucking ruin it. Like, you know, like when the artists like do the free for all fucking version, I'm like, why are you destroying this beautiful song? The ceremony is beautiful, and but it's a lot of. I know that you can become a citizen by marriage. So if you marry an American, and it's like again, like a lot of paperwork involved in that. Basically, what the government or whomever regulates this wants is to know that you are not that you didn't commit any crimes,
right.
that you're a good person and you're working and you pay your taxes. Oh, that's one thing for people who the IRS. So this is so funny, only in America. The IRS offers a number which is similar to a social security number because you don't have a social security, right? Because you don't have a green card. So the IRS offers a number that is only to file taxes.
Mhm.
So they know that you are making money. They tax you on the money,
Sure.
but you're not allowed to work in theory.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? Okay, so I'll give you this number. We know who you are. Like, you have
as
to
long
file
as you're
your
paying your taxes, they're like, you're not really supposed to work, but you're paying us, so that's fine.
taxes. Well, exactly.
Wow.
So I can't remember what is. I think it's ITIN number.
Oh, I've seen that on
Uh,
paperwork before.
oh, okay. So if you have a social security number, do you put that? But if you don't, then you use that number.
Okay.
And it's, oh, so you know that I'm here. You know that I'm working. I don't supposed to be working. It
Mm.
is one thing, like unpopular opinion. Do you want to end the undocumented immigration problem here? Introduce e-check. You don't
Mm.
have a social security, I cannot hire you. But
Oh.
California, Nevada, like especially here on the West Coast, you go anywhere, there's going to be Hispanic people working. So the employer knows that, okay, so you can buy the social security card and you can buy the green card on the street, right? I'll show it to you, and you as an employer could say, here it is, here is a copy. You can fucking tell that I fucking printed at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're looking the other way.
Yeah.
But if everybody has e-verify, which is an electronic system, you put the social security number and it's not Zulma Williams, then whose fucking number is this?
Yeah.
So you can solve the problem immediately.
Mm.
But what happens is if the employer knows that I don't have papers, they don't need to offer health insurance. They don't need to, I don't have benefits. You pay me under the table because really, you know, who the fuck I'm going to go tell
Yeah.
when I don't even supposed to be working.
Yeah.
So let's stop making me who I'm fucking working for minimum wage for the job that you don't want to do.
Mm.
And let's start hitting on the employers because if that stops, if I wouldn't have a job, so if you told me like, okay, you come here, but you cannot work unless you have a green card. Okay. Then I may stay in Argentina until I can get a fucking green card,
Yeah.
which is very difficult to get,
Yeah.
but it can be done. But if you come and from Argentina and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? You can fucking go to, well, I don't want to name names, but
Yeah.
people know where they can go and they're not going to get in trouble.
Mm.
I do have a client in those conditions actually right now, and it's a big corporation, but some of the franchises are not from the corporation, so you can work there
Yeah. That's
because it's not the
interesting.
corporation, right? So,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, really? I didn't even know. And I was like, oh shit. So you know where you should go and you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But if nobody, if everybody will apply the law,
Yeah.
then that's
Yeah.
how you are going to discourage people to come
Yeah.
here if they are illegal. Do we really want to discourage people who are
Mm.
undocumented, or we just want to vilify some of them
Mm.
and make all of us the same? Yeah, you know what? I am bilingual in Spanish, and that is a huge advantage for my clients who may feel more comfortable. They might speak English, but they might feel more comfortable speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
If you told me you're from Argentina, I'll be speaking in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'll be speaking in Argentinian because my first language. I feel more comfortable
Sure.
doing that. But it's like there are so you have me as a bilingual person, and you have another therapist who, in order to see a Spanish speaking client, she or he needs to get a translator. That is more money for you.
Yeah.
So fucking pay me the difference, bitch, because you don't need to use a translator with me. So I'm saving you that
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyhow, I speak too much. Stop me. But
No
but
worries.
that was
Thank you.
one of the things in one of the agencies I used to work at. I was like, I don't feel comfortable working with couples. Don't give me couples. Here comes a Spanish speaking couple. They give it to me because I speak Spanish.
Mm.
Therapist to speak Spanish. I just told you I don't want to work with couples.
Yeah.
So is and you pay me the same like you pay Sally here?
Mm.
No, because Sally only sees English speaking clients.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
You
That's
know
an
what I
extra
mean?
skill. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah.
We could go on. Thank you for sharing that. I think that all of that is really good for my listeners to know and listen to. And I think we don't talk to immigrants enough on how difficult it is to come here and have that cultural change and stuff. So I love that firsthand account. Thank you for that. So now
Of course.
I would love for you to go into your breast cancer story.
Sure. I was working in an accounting department, and I was 42, reflecting on my future. I'm like, I'm really good with numbers, but I was like, I'm not sure I want to do this for another 25 years. And
Mm.
so I enrolled in a school while I was still working my accounting job. And I was 42. I graduated at 46. I was on track to start my master's in become fully licensed by age 50. That was the goal. So 2 months after, so here, so I graduated in December, and then I couldn't start my master's program until August of the following year. But surprise, in February, actually 6 weeks after I graduated, I got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm.
Oh, okay, funny. We plan shit and then life happens.
Yeah.
So I had such a bad experience. So I just graduated, so I didn't have a job at the time, and I didn't have insurance. But I had a lump on my right breast, and that here in southern Nevada is called the mammo van. I don't know if it's the same name in all the states, but the mammo van provides mammograms for people who don't have insurance.
Okay.
So I I did the mammogram, and I was referred to a surgeon who, so nobody had told me I had cancer. They were like, oh, we're gonna refer you to a surgeon. So I went to this surgeon, and he did an ultrasound, and he was like, I don't like what I see. I'm gonna do a biopsy. But I'm in fucking alone. I was like, oh, okay, shit. I don't like your fucking face. I don't like what I see either. I don't give a shit. So he did a biopsy, and it came back positive. So I got my diagnosis on Valentine's Day of 2012. And it was such a bad experience because he didn't even. So, okay, so since the biopsy was done until I got the result, I was doing a lot of research online. What do I ask? So there was these questions on forums from people who had the diagnosis. Oh, if it's cancer, you ask this question. If it's not cancer, you ask these questions. And go with a friend, because if it is cancer, you're not going to remember
Yeah.
anything, and blah, blah, blah. So I went with a friend, and I had the questions for cancer, if it is cancer, if it's not cancer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm glad that people had dedicated and used their time to do these things, because I wouldn't have known of going with a friend. But it's true. You hear that word, and I don't remember anything else. But my friend was asking the questions, she was taking notes for me. But what was very traumatic, not only to hear that you have cancer, but the way that he did it. Like he was not even making eye contact. Like he was looking at the report. Yeah, I was right. You have cancer. Motherfucker, is this about you being right? So then, to add salt to the injury, he asked me, "Are you legal?"
Mm.
Excuse me, sir. And I was, at the time, I was like, "Yes, I'm a citizen." But he was like, "Oh, okay." But now looking back, I'm like, motherfucker, like that is so fucking racist
Mm.
to ask. He did the surgery in on April, and then I applied for. So I understand, like he, the way that it was done was very not okay. But he was asking me so that I could apply for the government insurance, because Medicaid had a special program for cervical and breast cancer.
Oh.
So he wanted me to apply for that. But if you are not a citizen, you cannot apply for that. Or if you're not legal, even with a green card, I think that you can, but you cannot apply for that. But I think that there are ways and ways of asking shit. Like he could have said, okay, here are your options, and let me fucking apply or not apply or whatever.
Yeah.
So he decided to do a lumpectomy, which is a breast conserving and surgery, and he removed the tumor. And he said prior to the surgery, he said that I was going to have a scar like this. I don't know
Hmm.
where the camera is on my phone,
Yeah.
and a scar like this. And I was like, oh, okay. But he forgot to tell me that I was gonna have a scar like this fucking 2 years later. Okay, so so I had the surgery, everything went fine, and I had to take a shower 24 hours after the surgery.
Okay.
And they were teaching me how to do it, blah blah blah. So I came out of the hospital like, oh, I couldn't move my arm, and my friend, she was like, oh, she needed to go to work the next day. She said, you want me to? I'm like, go. So I see two drops of blood together, and I fucking pass out. Okay, so
Mm.
I'm doing the shit, and I had an scar like this with the
Oh.
staples and the.
Oh dear.
I almost passed out in the
Oh.
bathroom. I had to sit on the bathroom floor trying to recover myself. I'm Frankenstein. Like this is never gonna go
Oh
away.
no.
2 years later, now I have this car. He told me, motherfucker, sir, excuses. Like
Yeah.
type of surgery per se. I'm presuming if you have a C-section, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking go, blah blah blah. So then I decided to, I was gonna move back to Argentina to be closer to my family and continue my treatment there. And so I was authorized. So I had the surgery in April, and in May, I started radiation. So the idea was to do chemo and then radiation. But to take advantage of the month and a half I was going to be here, they decided to do the radiation first, and I was going to continue my treatment in Argentina. So I go to my first radiation session, and they put me in the on the table, and they had to. Okay, so first they did it tattoo. They tattooed a dot in the middle of my breasts, and that was to guide the machine to
Mm.
whatever fuck the machine needs to do. So I I had two guys, one on each side. They're pulling the sheet this way, and the other one is pulling the sheet this way, and they're trying to match the machine. It has like a red line, and they're trying to match that to the dot, right? And I'm fucking laughing my ass off. And my boobs are like jiggling, and I'm like, man, are you okay? I'm like, I don't remember the last time two guys were like pulling the sheets underneath me. So they were like, oh my God, you need to stop, like you need to be still, blah blah blah. So they did all the fucking measurements, whatever the fuck they did, and then they explained to me like, okay, it was every day. It took longer to put me in position to do the radiation that when the fucking radiation
Oh
took,
wow.
right? Okay, tomorrow when you come, you're gonna come into this room, you're gonna change, and you're gonna sit here, and then we're gonna call
Mm.
you. So I go in the next day and fucking put the fucking gown, and I'm sitting there, and they're like, "Oh, you're back," and I'm like, "Yeah, of course, I wouldn't miss my tanning session for anything." And they started, so we started laughing, and they were like, "Oh, we love your attitude. It's so important that you don't miss any of the sessions." Blah blah blah. They also taught me to put like a special lotion on my breast. So after I think it was after 10 days, I had like sunburn on
Oh.
only on the right breast, right?
Yeah.
Because they were doing all the radiation here. So it was like from the bottom of the breast up to here, I had like sunburn.
Mm.
But I wasn't like, it was just a visual, like I was okay. But I remember I decided to go back to Argentina. So with my friend, we start being tourists in Las Vegas because like we fucking live here. We never go to the casinos.
Yeah.
Once you decide to leave, you want to go to hit all the casinos. I remember I was wearing a strapless dress, and so you can see all the red, right? And there was this lady in the bathroom, and she was fucking staring. And I'm like fixing my hair, and I told my friend, "Oh, I wish I had money to do the tanning session on both sides of my body." That lady fucking disappeared. Like, bitch, what is staring at me? But nobody like,
Oh
you
my
know, like
gosh. That's
my friend Susie, she bless her heart, she's nothing like me. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe you said. I'm like, fucking bitch was fucking staring at me.
yeah.
So I finished the radiation. I moved to Argentina. There is a public hospital over there that specializes in cancer. And my sister had gotten me an appointment. So I go there. They want to do chemo, the one that attacks that you lose your hair, like the very
Mhm.
aggressive one. And I said, again, like doing my research, I was like, okay, what are the percentages that you are going to give me for this chemo? And they were like, we believe that all the cancer was removed, but we're giving you 50-50 that. And I'm like, hell to the no. You cannot give me 50. I'm not going to poison my entire body just in case that one cancer cell got missed. And no, you got to do 80-20 minimum. Like that, I'm going to poison my body for a 20% chance that, right? Okay. So we went back and forth. I at the risk of being rejected because I'm not following protocol. I said, I'll sign what I come from America. Everybody sues everybody. I sign whatever fucking paper you want me to sign that I'm not going to sue you. This is an informed decision. I am a smart person. It's not, oh, it's because I don't want to lose my hair. Fuck my hair, it's going to grow back. But you need to give me more. You cannot just give me 50-50. Oh, we do it. No, motherfucker, this is my body.
Yeah.
And my oncologist, she is a female. She was like, if it was me, I will do it. So with all due respect, it's not you. This is my body. So until you are in my shoes, I do appreciate the information, but what other treatments are there that I can? So they came up miraculously with another type of chemo that it wasn't as aggressive and that could only be done on postmenopausal women.
Oh.
Now, at that time, I still had my period, so they had to induce the menopause chemically. So I was 46 when I was diagnosed, and I'm still too young to be on menopause, but they started giving me a shot every month to stop my period because the type of cancer that I had is called triple positive, which means that it took food from the hormones. So by blocking the hormones, if there was any potential cell cancer left, it will starve. So every 4 weeks, I had my shot, so I won't have my period. And every 3 weeks, I will have that treatment, which was like through my veins. And I was tired when I was getting that treatment, but it was nothing like the other type of chemo.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. So I did that, I think, for a year and a half. And I was doing a lot of other tests just to make sure that everything was okay and the cancer hasn't come back in another part of my body and whatever. And after for a year and a half, I was doing that. And then my mom passed away suddenly and she had a heart attack. And I'm so glad. So at the time, I didn't realize the fully extent of me being there. But then what would happen with my mom, it was all part of the bigger plan because she got to see me that I was okay, right? Because I'd be like, no, I'm okay. But she got to see me that I'm okay.
Yeah.
So she transitioned at peace because she saw that her daughter was okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
After my mom passed away, I was like in a romantic relationship that was not working out. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I think I'm going to go back to the States. So I decided to come back in February. February apparently is a big month.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed. I decided to come back. And I was like, okay, God, just please give me a sign that I'm doing the right thing. At the beginning, I was going to the hospital every 3 weeks, having a lot of tests. At this point, 3 years later, it's more like maintenance, right? Like I go every 3 months. And so I have appointments scheduled until the end of April. So even though I made the decision in February, I was like, bought the ticket for the beginning of May.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, Lord, please give me a sign that I'm doing the right thing, blah, blah, blah. Out of no fucking where, careful what you ask for. I get an email into my personal email Now it's been 3 years that I'm not longer a student at the university. So your university student email gets deactivated.
Yeah.
I get an email from the university on my personal email.
Oh.
Hey, do you want to enroll for the Advanced Master of Social Work program? We have it back.
Oh.
I was like, okay, darling.
Yes.
I went inside. You gave me a fucking letter. Like,
Yeah.
so I hope I can say this publicly. I sent all the fucking paperwork to my friend Susie, and I'm like, you drop it off at the university because I didn't want to be charged for out of state.
Mm.
I wasn't living here at the time. She was like, they're gonna know that it's not me. I said, nobody's gonna fucking remember. Just drop the envelope and fucking run away.
Yeah.
So I got admitted, and I came in May. I was here for 10 days, working my jet lag off, and then I started school. It's an advanced program, so it's 3 semesters, it's full time, and it starts in May instead of August. So you take the summer classes, and I graduated a year later. So I come back here and I try to establish care, and I call Medicaid, and they were like, "Ma'am, what happened? Like, where were you for 3 years?" I was like, "Oh, I moved to Argentina." They were like, "You have to notify us." I was like, "I'm so
Oh.
sorry."
You weren't
All of
utilizing the services at that point.
but they didn't know if I died. I was like, "I'm sorry." So I go back to the surgeon, and to the one who did my surgery, and I asked him for a referral to an oncologist. And he's the same fucking asshole from 3 years prior. He was like, "What do you want an oncologist for?" I said, "Because I had cancer." No.
He cured you from your surgery.
So I was like, "Okay, thank you." And then I had the best oncologist
Oh,
ever. I
good.
love my oncologist. He's so good. So he was looking at the treatment I received in Argentina, and he was like, "This is so advanced. We are barely doing this here. I'm glad that
Wow.
you got this 3 years ago." And I was like, "Oh, look at Argentina. Okay."
Ah.
So I continue with my checkups and all of that. He said the shot to stop my period only supposed to be for 5 years, but they had new research. Do you want to extend it? I'm like, heck yeah, I don't want my fucking period again. Like, you're a guy, you don't know, you know what I mean? Like, so I
Yeah.
continue that. And spoiler alert, I survived 12 years cancer free. But
Yay,
um,
congratulations.
thank you. But upon reflection of the diagnosis, which is so traumatic and really changes your life, I think that if anything, the cancer came to show me how bad I wanted to be a therapist.
Mm.
Because it delayed. Okay, so I fucking started my master's at 50 instead of being fully licensed at 50. But I'm already fucking old, like who cares, right? So I started at 50. And most of my classmates were 25, right? So I'm the fucking grandma in the class. And so I'll keep them grounded with real life experience.
Yeah.
And they keep me young by teaching me about fucking social media and Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that is, whatever. It was a nice balance. But as you mentioned at the beginning, I never considered myself a victim.
Mm.
When I was first diagnosed, after the initial shock, I was like, why me? But then I started reflecting in again, I don't have children, but I have my mom, and I have a sister, and I have nieces, and I have female friends. And I started thinking, if it was not me, would I have preferred that it was one of them? And the answer is no. I wouldn't want my mom to have breast cancer, or
Yeah.
my sister, or my niece. So then I changed the question to why not me?
Oh, that's really hard to do.
But it took me out of the victim place. Okay, why not me? Okay, so I fucking have this. So what I'm gonna do? So now I can make a decision. I can sit on the corner and cry and wait for to die, or I can get up and fight. And that's what I chose.
Mm.
So I truly believe that no matter what challenges we are facing, so I always say, I had cancer, didn't have me. And that applies for any challenge that
Yeah.
anybody's facing. Because you, all, everybody who's listening, we all have 100% track record of being successful in overcoming the challenges that we face in the
Mhm.
past. How do I know? Because you're here. I don't
And
need
you
to
have
know.
to. We have to in
Well,
order to
you don't,
continue life.
but you don't have to. You only have to pay taxes and die, and the first one is optional. You really don't have to. When you start analyzing your options, is I don't want to go to work, but I really like to take a shit in the toilet. So
Yes, you
I
have to
want
go to
to
work.
pay rent. So I really want to work, right?
Yeah.
Like, going through. I could die, but I really don't want to unless I want to put a fight.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was the treatment was going to be successful,
Yeah.
but at least I'm going to go down fighting.
Yeah.
So we all have gone through shit. It doesn't have to be cancer.
Yeah.
So look back at your own shit that you have experienced in your life, and then you tell the current challenge, "Fuck you! You are not going to get me." Because if that shit back then couldn't take me out, you're not gonna fucking take me out.
Yeah.
We want this like cruising through life, and that's not what life is. Unfortunately, we want to from go from point A to point B. Oh, I just started at 42, I graduated at 46, I did my masters, and then I'm fully like, yeah, bitch, like surprise. But even with the detour, it didn't stop me.
I've asked a lot of people on this podcast after sharing their stories if they would change any of it. And of course, like people who've died and things like that, we would all love to have those people back in our lives. And there may be little aspects like that we would change. But I have found that in most cases, people have said, no, I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't be the person I am today without that challenge.
Amen. I'm one of them. I will say exactly the same thing. All those things made me the person that I am today. So I don't shy away. Like in my profession, they tell us, oh, don't share about you. No, it is on my website in the About Me section that I survived breast cancer because I want you to know that I had my share of
Mhm.
challenges too and my share of trauma because that might help me connect with you. Because you're
Yeah.
going to be like, oh, you're not going to understand. No, I think I would.
Yeah. And I think that's really important when looking for a therapist is knowing whether or not, and they may not have gone through the exact same thing that you're going through or whatever. Like you said, it may not be cancer or whatever that someone you're working with is going through, but knowing that, and I believe that everybody has had their shit, no matter what it is. When you're opening up to a therapist and being vulnerable, it is nice, I think, to know that they are also human and they haven't figured out their entire lives yet either. We're all a work in progress.
Amen. Like people ask me, like, what should I do? I don't even know what the fuck to do with my life, let alone tell you what to do with yours. We're gonna find the answers together.
Yeah.
Like when I tell my clients, like, oh yeah, because my therapist said, oh, you go to therapy, yeah, motherfucker, like I'm human too,
I
right?
think that's also a very interesting side of things too, because I think that people who help other people like that also need to be working on themselves because it is
Oh,
really hard to
absolutely.
help others when you haven't fixed yourself either. So,
A good therapist goes to therapy because otherwise I'm gonna bleed on you my own shit
mm,
that I haven't worked on. And it's like, and my clients are, do you talk about me? No, I talk about my own shit.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
people being rude to me, like I'm teaching you how not to take it personal, but then I fucking personalize because I'm fucking human too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then my therapist tells me, like, do you think you're personalized? And I'm like, bitch, I hate you. But yes, I am personal. This is what I teach my clients. But when you are in the picture, you cannot see the picture.
Yes.
So that's why I need that neutral person to keep me in place, okay, to help me come back. Like, okay, what is it that I'm missing?
Yeah. Yeah.
in this picture. So I I am grateful for the experience, not necessarily for, oh, because I had cancer, but for having lived that experience, because it really put into perspective, like, as I mentioned before, like I'm a recovered people pleaser. Before, believe it or not, now I don't fucking give a shit. But before the cancer, I was like, oh, I don't want you to get offended or blah, blah, blah. And the cancer kind of came to free me from my own prison of trying to please everybody, which is impossible.
Yeah.
And oh, why are you wearing black and pink? And the other person, oh my God, you're wearing black and pink. I love it. And the other, okay, you know what? I fucking look in the mirror. I think that I look decent. I fucking wear it.
Yeah.
Because if I try to please you, please the other person,
Yeah.
please the other person, I start asking what Zulma wanted, what Zulma needed, and
Yeah.
go after that. So the cancer came to free me.
Mm.
And everybody was, oh, it's because she has cancer. You take it, you label it however you want to fucking
Yeah.
label it. Well, fuck you. So blame it on the cancer, but I'm calling it boundaries now.
Yeah.
Healthy boundaries. You can blame it on the cancer if you want to. I don't care. But here are my boundaries. And I will. So it came to give me permission
Yeah.
to ask for what I wanted, for what I needed, to set the boundaries, to put myself first,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that I wasn't.
Yeah.
Because we get so distracted with children, friends, family, life. It, now my self care is so important.
Mm.
My passions are so important.
Yes.
So you know what? I do yoga. I do sound healing. I do massages. I receive all those.
Yes.
Well, the yoga I do it, but the sound healing, the massages are so important
Yeah.
for me to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So they went from being a luxury to being part of my recovery.
Yeah. I love that.
And I can say no without guilt 90% of the time. Because again, because I'm still human, but it's no, you know what? I stopped doing things or saying things for other people
Mm.
because if I say yes so that you don't get offended
Yeah.
or you don't get upset, but I'm upsetting myself.
Mm.
Somebody's getting upset.
Yes.
I have chosen up until my cancer diagnosis that I don't want you to be upset. Now, guess what? I'm the one who's not going to be upset. You know what? And we can talk about it. We can, but the answer is no, because guess what? I really don't want to.
Mm.
Okay. No is a full
I
sentence.
love that. Yeah.
No, period.
Mm.
No, because, no. Hey,
Mhm.
are you coming to the gathering? No, that is a full fucking sentence.
Mm.
And you don't have to be explaining yourself to nobody. You know what? People are gonna get fucking offended if they want to. Oh, because you say yes, but then you're leaving early, or you got there late, or you didn't bring this, or you took that. Okay, motherfucker, you know what? Do I really want to go to the gathering? I say yes. But if I don't want to, then I say no.
Good for you. That's a hard lesson to learn. I am also a recovering people pleaser.
So you know it, right?
Yes. Yes. And I always have had a really hard time saying no to people. But I am getting better. The older I get, the better I am getting at it. And then, yeah, that compulsion to have an excuse. Like you feel like you can't say no without having another reason. Because people will be like, what else do you have to do besides coming to this gathering? So then
It's
I
like
am
it's
always
none
like,
of your fucking business.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
So being
right is
okay with no, I don't want to has been quite the lesson for me to learn. And that being okay in my own brain, even.
but the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yes.
Because now you're like, no, and you deal with your own guilt in your own terms. And it's like, no, and we sit uncomfortably. And then you realize that, oh, people are going to be okay. It's
Yeah,
not the end of the relationship. And if me saying no to the gathering is the end of the relationship, this relationship was doomed a lot
for sure.
before.
For
You know
sure.
what I mean? Because I need to honor you and where you are at. And I rather, so here is the thing. When I say yes, we're going to have a great time
Yeah.
because I really want to be there.
Yes.
Rather than me not wanting to go there, but say yes, and then I'm fucking in a bad mood, or like I bring my energy, and it's all what's wrong with Zulma, and I don't want it to be fucking explaining, and or worse, I put a face,
Hmm.
and then I'm fucking exhausted because I'm like, I'm not that person.
Yeah.
It's so exhausting to be somebody else.
Mm.
So this is what you get. The same way I'm talking to you, that's how I talk to my clients. So I do a 50-minute consultation over the phone when to see what I can see. Shit and fact is gonna come out of my mouth.
I love that.
So if you have a problem with me cussing, I'm not the therapist for you.
Yes. And that's
But I'm
okay.
not gonna. I will give you referrals, but I'm not gonna sit in my own office that I worked so hard for and be like, oh, sugar, oh, fudge. No, I'm gonna say shit.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say bitch. And
Also, can I just put this out there? Funny little story. I used to be extremely uncomfortable saying fuck. And my husband used to laugh at me every time that it did come out of my mouth because I can tell you're like so uncomfortable saying that. Okay. Then I went through 8 years of infertility and now fuck comes out of my mouth more than it ever did before. So let's just be honest here that sometimes those are the only words that can fully embody and describe the horrible, icky feelings that you are feeling and things that you're going through. I think with like by all means, with all therapists, you should be able to just dump those words out there because sometimes that's the only release. Like I don't know many other words that can describe how I'm feeling sometimes.
it's funny because when I say fuck first or whatever, and they're like, like I can see this. I'm like, yeah, you can cuss too. Bring it on, girlfriend. So I found that being myself is it takes a lot less energy than trying to be someone that I'm not. It's so liberating.
Yeah.
And life is too fucking short.
Yeah.
No, you know what? My clients, that's the thing with me. You either hate me or you love me. There is no gray, oh no, I'm not sure. No, I can fucking stand the bitch or I love her. There is no in between. My clients love me because I am direct and I am straight to the point. I'm not here to sugarcoat shit.
Hmm.
And I'm here like, do you want to get better? We're gonna hit the ground running. But if you are like, oh, I'm not sure, I listen, I'm not judging. I will refer you to another therapist, but I'm not the therapist for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we are not a good match, it's not gonna work because you're not gonna be able to open up because you don't trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And trust is the fundamental is like the therapeutic relationship is 80% of the success of therapy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm uncomfortable sharing my shit with you, like with my therapist, I'm like, bitch, I hate you. I said it. It's not like I'm thinking it.
Yeah.
She gives me a cold word. I'm gonna fucking like cash you out. She's like, by all means. So I took the session. I'm like, I fucking cash you out. Okay. And I'm like, bitch. But she's right. Because I don't care as far as you fucking do. Because we can meet there. Because when I give you homework, I use a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, which implies homework. If you don't do it, if I, so let's say you have anxiety and I'm like, okay, take a deep breath, use the grounding technique. I'm teaching you, we're practicing the session. And then you go out there and you don't do it. Guess what the next fucking homework is going to be? The same fucking homework because you didn't do it. I
Yeah.
don't know if it works or not because you didn't try it.
Yeah.
The real therapy happens in between the sessions,
Yes.
not in the office.
Yes.
When I'm giving you the tools, do you go out there and you use them?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when the real therapy happens. So I want to know if you use that and it doesn't work for you, perfect. I'll give you a different tool.
Yeah.
But how do we know if it works? Oh, because your brain is telling you that it's not going to work. You know what I told your brain? Fuck off. Try it. And then tell
Yeah.
me that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you try it and you're like, oh, you know what? It works. No shit, Sherlock. I know because I'm fucking using it.
Yeah.
So,
Ugh.
yeah.
So your practice is Dragonfly Therapy Services. Yeah.
Yes.
We will link I have your website here, your Instagram in the show notes to get a hold of you if
Okay.
anybody
Sounds
wants
great.
to
Thank you.
work with you. Yeah. I feel like we could keep talking for forever. You are such an interesting person. So maybe we'll have to do another episode at some point together. That would be fun.
Yes, I would love.
But first, I just want to thank you for coming on and telling me your story about being an immigrant and your breast cancer story and your healing journey. I know it's not always easy to share all that with the world. So thank you for that. Do you have
My
any
pleasure.
parting words or advice for my listeners?
Of course, if you woke up today, that means that your mission in life is not complete. So keep pushing through one day at a time. And if one day is too long, push through 1 hour at a time. And if 1 hour is too long, keep pushing through 15 minutes at a time. Because four of those make 1 hour and 24 of those make one day. So you just keep pushing through 15 minutes at a time.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Zulma, for coming on here. This has been a really fun conversation. And really, we should set up another call because I feel like we could
Yes,
just keep talking
I
about
love that.
all sorts of things. So
Yes, we can talk about anxiety and depression
yes.
and share some helpful tools with the listeners.
Yes, let's do that. I think that would be really great. So thank you so much for coming on. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed our conversation and found value in the stories shared, please consider following us on your preferred podcast platform. Your ratings and reviews make a huge difference. They help us reach more listeners and continue bringing you engaging, insightful content. We appreciate your support and would love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Until next time, keep listening, growing, and sharing.